Hey YouTube, this is Mark with Who's Your Life out in the shop, and I got the fans going. It's about 90 degrees here in Northeast Indiana. Pretty hot in the shop. I've just opened it up and there's really not much wind blowing out there today, but welcome to the channel. I have a question. I need some help, some information. I bought a new firearm. I'll show it to you here. No magazine. It is it's a Taurus Gen3x. It's a 9mm. I really like it. I've put between 600 and 700 rounds through it since I purchased it probably 3 months ago. So the question is, there's a statement that I've heard several times at the gun shop. You know, you got to shoot a gun 500 times before it breaks in, before it's really ready to go. And I was taking that as gospel. But then I really got thinking about it, because I don't know that that applies to just about any other area of life. And the reason why it's such a big deal with this Taurus Gen3x is because if you search for that, like on YouTube even, there's a lot of issues that this particular firearm has. And I've had my share of issues with it. So today, see if I think I brought the rounds with me. Today I was shooting 3 different types of ammunition, three different manufacturers, all 115 grain full metal jacket. So something that looks like this. And I had 5 what I'm going to call light strikes. See how the firing pin has a dimple in it? These are 2 that I just kept out. They're from 2 different ammunition manufacturers. One is Ammo Inc. and one is MagTech. The other ammunition that I was firing today was Fiocchi. I think I'm saying that right. So I had 3 different types of ammunition, all 115 grain, all full metal jackets. I cleaned this gun thoroughly last night. Broke it all down and went through everything, made sure it was oiled up, not excessively, but properly. Cleaned it all up. Went out with a brand new cleaned firearm. And what I've noticed in the last couple weeks, so when I purchased the gun, the Ammo Inc. firearm ammunition, the gun would not go into battery. I mean, it would. So what that means is that it would literally sit like that. The slide wasn't in battery. This is going to be exaggerated, but it would be like that. So what you'd have to do is hit it to charge it in the battery. That didn't make sense to me. So, I mean, I just bought it. I walked out to the range, and I asked the guy that I bought it from to come out and take a look at it. So he did, and he's like, it's probably the ammunition. So he swapped out the ammo ink for some MagTech, and I started running MagTech. And I think I had one time where it didn't go into battery, and then the rest of the time, I think I shot a box and a half, so roughly 75 rounds. Had probably put 100 rounds through the gun by this time, and it was doing fine. It's accurate. This gun is very accurate for me, and I'll show you that in a little bit. But I want to use it as an everyday carry. It's very nice size, carried in my waistband, outside my waistband, but I'm not confident with it. So I wasn't confident with it because that it would fail to go into battery, and I don't want to be out in a situation where I'm dependent on it and it not going to battery and I'm banging on my gun to engage. So last weekend, Gunshop had a big sale on 9mm, so I bought about a half a case of ammunition, split it up between Fiocchi and MagTech. I wanted to try the Fiocchi. So Friday, this past Friday, 2 days ago, I go out, insert my magazine, go to feed, and I get a misfeed. So it's about like this. Pop my magazine out, work the slide, everything's fine. Reload the magazine, charge it, we're good to go. That happened 3 or 4 times with the Fiocchi. Shot fine, accurate. MagTech was shooting fine, accurate. And I was shooting at 5, 10, 15, and 20 yards. Doing really well. Just taking my time shooting. So I went back out yesterday and I was like, I've got to try to figure this out. And yesterday I had the same issue with the feeding. It had some misfeeds, it wouldn't feed well. And so I didn't do a whole lot of shooting yesterday. I was kind of not very happy with the situation. And when I left the gun shop, I was thinking, you know, maybe it's a magazine issue, not a firearm issue. So I got home, and last night when I cleaned it, tore everything down, put a couple dots with a paint pen on my magazine so I could identify which magazines might not be feeding correctly. I went out today and I took all 3 types of ammunition with me. Ammo ink, MagTech, Fiocchi. And started out at 5 yards shooting. And I'll show you. Pretty hot day today. Sweat dripping in my eyes and stuff. This is my Fiocchi. 5 yards. I had no issues with it. So my headshots, my torso shots, 15 feet, and I write on here what it is, what the temperature is, but I didn't have any issues with the Fiocchi. On that, I think that's half a box of ammunition. It may be a full box, I can't remember. I have to go back and read my notes. So then, got the MagTech, same thing, 5 yards. The guys at the gun shop are calling it that I trumped this target. So 5 yards, let's see, I don't think I had any issues there. Yeah, no misfires, no issues. That's the MagTech. Ammo ink, 5 yards. I had 4 misfires, so 4 of those light strikes. 3 of them were with magazine 1, and then 1 of them was with magazine 2. But it doesn't make sense. Like, the magazine isn't causing the light strikes. But you can see the gun shoots fine. I mean, I am very comfortable with the way it shoots. Set that aside. See what other, I got some other targets from today. So the Fiocchi and the MagTech, I went back to 10 yards. You can see I need to work on my accuracy. I'm pushing to the left, but that's 10 yards, and I'm not too displeased with that. It's the way it is. I took it out to 20 yards. Fiocchi, same thing, 25 rounds. And you can see I'm still pushing to the left. That's at 20 yards, and I've really got to clean that up, get that much tighter and more centered. Then there's one more I want to show. This, I was doing some, I don't know if you'd call them speed rounds, but I went 5 rounds and then do a like a tactical swap with my magazines and do another 5 rounds. So this is at 10 yards, and I'm just going as fast as I can. So I'm a little scattered, but I'm pretty happy with it. And that's probably, I don't know, 25, 30 rounds, I don't know. So I'm not displeased with the accuracy of the firearm. Today I put 300 rounds through it. So I'm up over 600, maybe 700 rounds in this gun. So why am I still getting this? Let me see. And why does a gun need 500 rounds? What happens to it at 500 rounds? What's happening to it at 500 rounds that isn't happening to it at 300 rounds? And if something happens to it at 500 rounds, something's wearing in, what happens when you hit 750 rounds or 1,000 rounds? Does it continue to wear? Why can't a manufacturer make a firearm that out of the box you're able to use without having to run, let's say, $150, $200 worth of ammunition through it? I just don't understand it. I don't understand what I'm missing when people say, well, you just got to run 500 rounds to that gun to get it loosened up, broke in, whatever. Because if something's breaking in my mind, if your gun is wearing after shooting at 500 rounds, what's it doing at 1,000 rounds? So when I buy a firearm, I don't buy the firearm and stick it on a shelf. That's not how I use a firearm. I buy a firearm and I try to get proficient with it. I use it. That's what they're for. They're to be used. They're like a tool, like a hammer, like a saw. Which leads me to other things like, why doesn't my table saw manufacturer say I've got to make 75 cuts before it becomes accurate, or it doesn't have any hiccups? Why, you go on and on. So if you can answer that question or give me insight, drop some comments below. I'd really appreciate it. I'm not upset with my Taurus. I'm not upset with the Gunshop. I'm a little frustrated with the ammunition. But I'm trying to learn here, and I know that a Taurus Gen3x is not the Cadillac or Mercedes or whatever of firearms, but it has to be dependable, right? If Taurus is making a firearm that you've got to run 500 rounds through before you can use it as an EDC, that's a pretty sloppy manufacturer, in my opinion. And it'd really be interesting to hear from a manufacturer like what their thoughts are on it. Are they machining components to wear in such a way that around, and I'm not just saying that like 500 is the magic number, but somewhere around that 500 round mark, all of a sudden everything's good and it's broke in. And if that's the case, why not go to that with your tooling? I mean, my God, 30 years ago when I was doing machine work, you could make stuff within hundreds and hundreds of thousands. Like, I mean, the guys I worked with were absolutely incredible. And I'm sure Taurus nowadays, yeah, they probably got robots that do this stuff. I'm just curious. I mean, I'm an average guy living in the Midwest. Yeah, I'm working 6 days a week. And part of my hobbies is shooting firearms. And it's like, I don't want to spend $500 in ammunition to get to the point where I know it's dependable. But maybe that's what you got to do. Maybe I don't understand it. So that's the whole purpose of this video. Why does it take 500 rounds or thereabouts to break in a gun? What am I missing? Drop it in the comments below. If you've made it this far, I really appreciate it. Appreciate the subscribers. If you hadn't yet subscribed, please do so. I put out content, on a regular basis, I guess. Help me figure this one out, because I need help out here living the Hoosier life. Y'all take care. We'll see you on the next one. Cheers.
There's another one.